who don't know me, my name is Bart Verheijen. I'm the founder of GuruScan, knowledge mapping. What we do is we provide organizations with a knowledge mapping approach, which is bottom up, so uses all the knowledge that people actually need to get their job done, which is always a little bit broader than what the central management or the team of directors thinks that the company is actually doing or needing. The second thing is that we allow people and encourage people to share their knowledge networks. So think about you want to do something with a new technology, could be AI today, could have been blockchain a year ago, could have been nanotechnology 10 years ago, whatever's the hype that comes up and you want to do something with it. Hey, Christina. Yeah, we're good. So whatever the hype is that you want to do, we encourage people to share their knowledge networks, thereby being able to find experts in the organization a lot easier. Also find the quiet experts that are not so extrovert and not promoting themselves a lot. And also finding people and peers to share knowledge with in other locations. So breaking silos or organizational structures that you may have, because we are able to connect peer to peer on the knowledge that people have. And besides that, together with a few other people, I founded the Dutch Knowledge Management Network. That's how I got in touch. Welcome. That's how I got in touch with Andreas, and he motivated me to come to the bar camp. And I really liked the idea of just coming together with a group of people around a certain team, and then everyone just pops up one by one and organizes some session, discussion, question, whatever. So that's why I'm here basically. And as if you heard me this morning, my German is good enough to understand it. If you want to ask a question and you feel that it's better to do that in German, that's fine with me. But if I have to talk in a little more detail, then my German is not sufficient. So that's why I do the session in English for my own comfort. Well, for now, it's more of a spontaneous session. I came across the knowledge profile research yesterday in a session from two researchers from Fraunhofer who did something in a more technical company looking at knowledge profiles and skills profiles and how to develop people. And I had a discussion with someone else in the room, which led to this session on presenting and then discussing the ESCO structure. ESCO stands for European Skills, Competence and Occupation Framework. It's freely available. What I will do after this session, I will put the link to the page of the European Commission on the what's called the concept board, so on the online board. So you and everyone else can get that information. They have a navigation themselves, so you can work with search and so on. You can also download the entire data set. That's what we did. We downloaded it last year, and the entire data set has about 3,500 different jobs, so occupations. So those are jobs that you can do. Think about business analyst, that's an example. And there are many jobs there, so 3,500. And then even there are even more, because some jobs have a little line that says this also means, and then a short list of other jobs. So they already recognize that there are more jobs than they can even put into this entire overview. Besides the jobs, they also have knowledge and skills and competences. According to their definition, knowledge are things that you can know, so things that you can it's more of a cognitive thing. You can learn it, you can read it, and then you know about it. And skills and competences are things that you're able to do, where skill is a general skill, and a competence is the application of a skill in a specific context. So using that skill to do something in education or in healthcare or in the military or in a business environment. Of course, these definitions are shaky, and you're probably able to find stuff that's like right on the edge. So I didn't invent it. I didn't even work on it. So I'm happy to take any credit on any criticism, sorry, on the entire ESCO structure. I don't think that's really helpful for now because I won't be able to change it. But I think the interesting part, and that's what interests me, is that it can be really helpful if you want to do, for instance, skills mapping, or you want to do to map job fits for different people. So if you have people in your organization and they should be a business analyst, then you can look at the different topics that are listed. So right here for a business analyst, there are a couple of things that you can see. You can see that it's part of the occupation hierarchy. So it's a job that you can actually do. And well, they have a hierarchy of 5 layers where all the occupations are listed. You can walk through all that occupation list. And then what they did is they linked all of the occupations to essential knowledge. That means if you want to be an analyst, you should definitely have this knowledge. Essential skills, again, if you're a business analyst or you want to be a business analyst, you should definitely have these skills. And further down, it's a lot, I already told you, optional skills or optional knowledge and optional skills. So if you want to be a business analyst, these are optional knowledge and skills areas that you could acquire. So a very straightforward thing that you could do with this is have people in the organization score themselves, or have managers or team leaders score the people in their team on these skills. And then you can make a fit, like how fit is this person to do this job? Of course, this sounds great. It's freely available. Someone else made it for you. By the way, I'm showing it in English because that's the most convenient in general. But because it's the European Commission, it's available in all languages of the European Union and in a few more. And I always forget which one, but I think I'm not sure. I think it was Russian, Chinese, and Arabic or something like that. It's a huge number of languages. So for sure in German, for sure in Spanish, French, and all the other languages of the European Union. So, sorry? Spanish not? It should be. I checked it. It's not complete. Oh, I didn't check for that. I just checked all the flags that I saw on the, I think it's 26 or 27 different languages that they have. So, and it's freely available because it's made by money from the European Union. So everyone can just use it and download it. You don't need to pay for it. They update it every now and then. Of course, they lag behind the very recent developments. So a prompt engineer for AI will not be in there yet, but that will probably be in a next release. So they continuously update the whole data set. So one of the things that you could do is, for instance, the mapping of job fits and so on. Another thing that you can look for is the future skills and the transversal skills. And then I'll stop talking and start asking you some questions. So we've been talking a lot about future skills, and transversal skills are listed separately in the whole inventory. Transversal skills are, oh well, this increases a little bit. I shouldn't have moved. Transversal skills are skills that sort of used to go to general application, like a transversal skill. Well, I hope maybe you can read it, like digital skills, working environment, numeracy and mathematics. It doesn't really matter what job you have or what profession you have. It's always helpful if you're able to, if you have digital competencies. And you can see them all, problem solving with digital tools, digital data processing, ICT safety, and so on. And you can see all the different details there. What you may see, and then I come to a few of the drawbacks, is that this is all meant to be generally applicable throughout the entire European Union. It means that you will have jobs that, at least from the Netherlands, I know that no one really has a job as a horse carriage driver because there's just no employment for that. Maybe we need one to ride around with the royal family, but that's about it. But of course, in other parts of Europe, people use horse carriage for daily use, and it's a regular job, and people need to do that. So there is a lot of useless information in there if you are in a certain area. Of course, if you are in the healthcare sector, you don't need all of the business stuff and all of the engineering stuff and all of the educational stuff. So there's a lot of information in there that you don't need. And another drawback is that it's never scoped to your organization and the specific choices that you made. So it will never contain, of course, I would say, it will never contain your own projects. So any projects or products or service lines or anything that you have in your organization will never be in here. So if you want to do internal assessments for people, you would always have to add that kind of information, I would say, because otherwise you will have a general profile, which is really nice to make sure that people have a sort of basic level. And I think it's a really good external sort of check, like, did we forget something? We are assessing all of our frontline workers or all of our business analysts or all of our, you name it, you can do anything, software testers or software developers or any role or group of people that you have. You can use this to more look for an external benchmark, but it will never be specific. So it will not tell you, like, if you chose to do your software development all in, I don't know, .NET, there is like a topic of .NET, but it will not have a specific .NET programmer. So it will give you programming or application developer. I think that's the level that's in there. Of course, if you have specific job descriptions for your own organization, you need to add that to this system. And that, again, is also the drawback. So then if you look at who do I really want to hire for my internal project, then probably these descriptions or these skills profiles are not good enough.
But to compare global organization or global organizations in the Netherlands, or you name it, Philips,
yeah,
or also in the Netherlands, just to see which group or job family you are looking for. It's very helpful to compare the jobs and to know what they are talking about. Also out of an HR perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's very helpful to do comparisons. I would say it's also very helpful to do anything that looks for general employability. Yeah. Employability can be internal. I think in one of the previous sessions, someone gave the description, like, any car manufacturer today is, of course, has its background, except maybe for Tesla, which has its background in combustion engines. Anyone knows that that will be ending sometime, possibly not today, but not tomorrow, but maybe next month, next year, or in 2 or 3 years. So as a whole, you want to lower the number of people that have knowledge on combustion engines, and you want to increase the number of people that have knowledge on electrical engines and electrical drivetrains and drive-by-wire and, I don't know, all those technologies that are needed to build the car of the next decade. So as a whole, you want to make sure, if you assess all the skills that you have in your employee pool, like, where are we in that shift from combustion engines, from people that know about spark plugs and about cylinders and about exhausts and about all that kind of stuff, towards electrical drivetrains, drive-by-wire, and so on. So you can do overall assessments of skills and skill profiles.
check already if they have also a description of knowledge management.
Just that's a good one. I wrote it down as well. Let me check. If there's someone online, we need to use that microphone so then other people can also hear it. But it's all right with me if there's no one online. Then there is some stuff in there on knowledge management, but not a lot.
Maybe we shouldn't check. Otherwise, we would know that we are doing the wrong job. Once before I checked it was not no results.
So it has this one, and that's the closest you can get. So ICT Information and Knowledge Manager.
Okay.
That's the closest you can get. But it depends a little bit if you look at more specific, so manage business knowledge. That's then again a skill. So I'm very quickly switching from the ICT and Knowledge Manager. That was an occupation, so a job that you can do. This is a specific skill that you can have. And if you then look at managing business knowledge, there are different roles that actually need this knowledge area. So you can also be a knowledge engineer, and you can debate whether that's part of knowledge management or not. There's also a few roles that are in training or facilitation, which could also be part of, so group facilitation, facilitating communities, those kind of roles. They are not called knowledge or knowledge management, but they are arguably part of what you would consider to be knowledge management in an organization. But it's not a lot. And of course, you can be chief data officer as well, which again, oh well, it's a nice example here. This is what they very often do. So it says chief data officer, has a little description of what a chief data officer is supposed to do. Scope note excludes data scientists, and then it has a link to data scientists. So if you say, hey, I'm not a chief data officer, but I'm a data scientist, you can go there. Includes data analysts. So apparently, for whatever reason, and also to keep it sort of within reach. So if they would have pulled all these jobs apart, you would have probably gotten not 3,500 jobs, but 35,000 different jobs. So that's why they somewhere made a decision to merge these two together. I know that they use a lot of labor market information, so they look for job advertisements and base also the new jobs and also the integration of jobs on what they find in the market. And what does it more say? Includes people performing high executive data roles. Wow. So if you think you have a high executive data role, then this should be your job description. So again, I don't think the word knowledge is anywhere in this description. Very quick check. No, it says information once. Like it doesn't say knowledge anywhere, but arguably people that would visit this event and would consider themselves knowledge managers, or maybe chief knowledge officer, whatever they call themselves, arguably some of them would perfectly fit this job profile. So even if it's not called knowledge management, just by looking, so taking not just the single job description, but looking at the surrounding skills that people have, you can find other jobs that are closely related.
Can you search for the skill knowledge management and then see for which jobs that would be?
It's not in there as a separate skill.
Whatever, what did we have? Knowledge engineer or something?
I think that's a job again. Yeah, so that's an occupation.
Okay, so do we have anything that looks like knowledge management there?
Manage business knowledge. That does sound good.
Where is it?
The third line underneath essential skills, and then
This one.
this.
And then you get, these are the ICT application developers. So that's basically programmers, so someone who does IT development. This may be ICT information and knowledge manager. That's like the most specific role around knowledge management. A knowledge engineer I think it's more about IT. Oh no, it says here, excludes people performing programming and coding activities. So it's more like, I think like an information manager maybe, like someone who sort of...
Yeah, but it still says integrate structured knowledge into computer systems.
Yeah, but then not without programming. So then
But it's more like
you run the taxonomy.
Taking care of wikis or maybe knowledge bases or something like that. It sounds more like still on the technical side, not how many here define knowledge management as a people.
Yeah, no, so
human-centered.
No, this is definitely not human-centered, but it's not coding, so it's indeed right there in the middle, like maybe managing the taxonomy, content management, curation, maybe managing the process around it, like organizing the yearly updates and stuff like that. That's probably in here. They can design and build expert or artificial intelligence systems that use this knowledge without doing the coding themselves, which is an interesting, makes it a rather small group of people, I think.
Could you go back to the manage?
Yeah, software manager, business intelligence manager, but I think that is looking more outside. Yes. So
develop company strategies. So another.
It's more on the management side, like for corporate development.
But there is also probably stuff like facilitation in there. So group facilitation or.
But it's very interesting, like you can either be an IT guy or a call center.
Is there any difference?
Depends on whether you have still people in your call center or just automated replies. So the EU has decided that there are no knowledge managers. Like we don't have them.
The next update.
The next update. Where do we have to set up a request for please?
That's easy. So let me. So I mentioned I will share the website in the concept board as well. If you Google it, you can also find it. It's not that hard. It doesn't show the URL now, or it only shows the page itself. Well, I'll
already edited to the dashboard.
Okay, great. So it's so you can find their website there. Well, because a customer of us wanted to use part of that database, I also connected them. If you are interested, you can easily get in touch with these people. If you want to have these contacts from me, that's also fine. They are really hard looking for applications of this database. And then you may wonder, why did they make it in the first place? And their idea is because it also resides under the European Commission, which is the executive branch of the European Commission. So the European Commission Directorate of Social Affairs. So basically the underlying assumption is that if we have one skills and job profile definition for the entire European Union, then individual people will be able to be more mobile in the European job market. That's basically the underlying idea. And that's why they started this project, and that's why they have made this to cover the entire European Union. And I know that there are a couple of places, usually they are relatively small, so it's like city or like a small region, that use part of these things to combine that with, I know the Dutch word, kansrijke beroepen, so like jobs that are in high demand, or and then if you combine that, you can, for instance, do assessments on people that have a distance to the labor market. So they either have no real qualification because they had some trouble somewhere in their youth, or they got they're coming back from jail, people like that, or refugees who have different qualifications, which are sometimes hard to gauge where they are, or just people who are unemployed for any reason. What you could do is then run a skills assessment with them and see, so don't look at all the 3,500 jobs, but only look at the 50 or 60 jobs that are in high demand, and then see like, hey, what fits best for you? Generally speaking, of course, these people will not qualify to be a doctor or to be a AI developer tomorrow, but there are also jobs that are more easier to attain that are also in high demand. So there's a lot, at least in the Netherlands, there's a lot in restaurants and other like services, or in transport and working night shifts. That's also something, and that's stuff that basically anyone who wants to work can do with little or no training or education.
My first question would be whether, like, the big job portals like Stepstone or Monster or whatever they are called, if they would use this as a basis to, like, because in these job search machines you can always use like a search term for the job title, or you can look for skills or competencies.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting if they would use this as a database. So if you look for software engineering and whatever the job title is, you would then find that kind of job. So that would be interesting.
I don't know if they do that. I do know that the European Commission tests their definitions the other way around. So I've seen an example where they were looking in the marketing area. So you have marketing assistant, marketing manager, marketing director, and so on. And of course, there's like, they have their definitions. And what they did was they looked at job advertisements that ask for a marketing assistant, marketing manager, or marketing director, and then looked at, well, would we also qualify that job for that same title? And then what you will see is that there's, generally speaking, the job title that is advertised is of a slightly higher level than the description suggests. So you would call someone a marketing director, but actually the tasks are rather operational. And of course, that is in the benefit of the company that is actually posting this ad, because it looks really nice. Oh, you can be a marketing director. Oh. And actually what you'll be doing is executive operational tasks and not director tasks.
That is interesting. I know the head of data lab from
Yeah.
asked him whether they know this or whether they use it.
And I know for the Netherlands that Randstad, well, I think that's also in Germany, right? So it's Randstad is one of the organizations who's also in the local benchmark group for the entire system. So they have local, national, maybe in Germany even regional, I don't know. In the Netherlands, it's a national benchmark group. That also used their information to sort of, again, guide what's in here. So it's interactive, and but it's unclear, at least to me, and I didn't make a study of it. So it's just, I came across this because a customer of us mentioned it to me, and that's why we took the effort to import it in our system. But there are many ways to use it, but it also has quite some drawbacks, I would say. But I do like the ID. I also made a little ChatGPT prompt to, for instance, if you look at the job market, there are a lot of jobs that are advertised with titles that are not fit for, that are not part of this inventory. So people ask not for a marketing assistant or a online marketeer, but they ask for a marketing ninja, whatever, just because they want to be cool or look cool or whatever. And then what you can do is you can either take the job title or you can take the full job description, and you can ask ChatGPT, hey, ChatGPT, give me the 3 ESCO job titles that most closely resemble this job description. So then you made a like a mapping between anything that's out there, even stuff that you don't know of, something that might appear tomorrow, and map that to a job title and description in ESCO, which will then enable you to give a set of skills and knowledge areas that that person should probably have. So starting from something that's could be completely wild and open and anything, you just take the text information that you have in a job ad and sort of process it step by step, and you can know what you should be able to do to have that job.
That would be funny if you tell the HR guys to, okay, put this in ChatGPT and tell them, and then they would know how to, or which job title to use, because sometimes the job titles are just totally creative.
Yeah.
Kind of keep a little eye on what is out on the market, and they search for business management.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, look here in Bonn, one of the ministerium or something was looking, yeah, referendum business manager. I checked and one like, yeah, guys, you're looking for a librarian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was just take care of the library, support publication services. Okay, librarians are good knowledge managers, but why the hell are you calling it referendum business management? Yeah, I just took that and put it on the librarian job opportunities list, because we have a very special job search only for librarian jobs, because usually the market is quite clear. And put it there so that maybe someone will find it and say, oh, that might be my job, because I'm a librarian.
Don't know that you are a business manager, business manager.
If you look for a librarian, then that would just not come up.
No.
So sometimes it's really strange what people are looking for, especially in the knowledge management area, because they look like from IT guys to librarians to HR people, and the job title.
It's our maybe communication or internal communication or group facilitation. It could also be maybe even more strategic, like if you're looking for a chief knowledge officer, someone to make more the strategic direction.
Yeah, or trainer.
Yeah, trainer, facilitator.
Trainer, document management, wiki.
Could be anything. And then someone just heard like, oh wow, knowledge management, that sounds cool. Let's just call it knowledge management. And then absolutely not attract the people that actually would want to have that job.
Yes, also otherwise for the HR, for enterprises, it's interesting to ESCO implement ethical knowledge or competence. How to define Sollzustand, how to define Berufsfamilien. So you don't have to invent or reinvent.
Yeah, you can start your competence card or Visitenkarte, just with this. You can check here and then
based on core competences of the enterprise.
You could even do that if you don't work at the company. I thought about that, to do that as more like a guerrilla tactic. You could look on LinkedIn and just look at, just take any company on LinkedIn, doesn't even matter which one. Siemens might be a bit big, but take one that's a little smaller. Just look at the job profiles that these people have. Everyone has like, I am whatever, this or that, a consultant or engineer or something. Then you pull the job profiles through your converter to map them on ESCO profiles. From the ESCO profiles, you have all the skills that you need. So you can just tell them like, hey, you have X times this skill, because you have, I don't know, you have 100 business analysts. So assuming all these business analysts will be qualified for their job. Of course, that's an assumption, but let's just go with the assumption. I think in general, you may not be that far off. So you can say, well, these are the skills that you have. You have these skills. You should have them in abundance because you have hundreds of those people. These skills will probably be very scarce for you. So you can make a And I'm not sure if it's a soll or an ist situation. It should be the ist situation because people have what they claim to be. Or if you're more cynical, it's the soll situation because these people have the job, but they may not be equipped to do the job. You could make that from publicly available information. And of course, there are a few assumptions. There are people that don't have a LinkedIn profile, so you miss them. And of course, not everyone's job profile exactly matches what they really do. So there are a few assumptions in that approach, but I think if you use that on a large group, if that group is considerably large, you will probably, that will all even out anyway. So.
I see a lot of opportunities or Möglichkeiten.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that really limits the use is that you more or less have to use the wording of this. I don't know how wie kreativ die Suche dann ist. Wenn ich nach Wissensmanagement suche und es hat kein Wissensmanagement, wirft die Suche mir dann Knowledge Engineer raus oder so. Also es ist ja, wie tolerant ist es gegenüber dem, was ich eingebe.
Yeah, I think the nice thing that would be, so it's a general approach, which can help you if you do external matching. I think for internal use, it could also be really helpful to make maybe in wherever area you're active. So if you would do this within your knowledge management department and you have different roles there, you have your chief knowledge officer or knowledge manager leading the knowledge management department. And then you have a couple of people who do specific things, maybe run a couple of tools or run a couple of programs in change management or in facilitating your communities of practice or specific roles like that. You could just make those roles yourself. So you can take this as a starting point and say, well, this area is somewhere where we are a lot more detailed in our organization for whatever reason, and just make those more specific roles there and leave out all of the rest. So you can take this information and basically change it in any way you see fit for your own organization. But then, of course, it takes more time because you will have to do that, and you cannot roll all the updates from them. You will have to assess, like, hey, do I want to use them or not? So it takes more management and more effort to do it, but that could also be helpful.
Yeah, but I think it's really a very worthy starting point. So you don't have to start like from scratch.
Yeah.
But you can think, okay, I'll take this and check whether that fits to my people or my jobs or my requirements, and then you can start building your own profiles and roles and skill sets from there. So
yeah, and if you,
so thanks for raising this.
and that's one of that. Thanks for that little bridge, and then we'll be able to finalize the session nicely in time. I think that's one of the interesting things that, so I came across this because a customer sort of told me about it, and I then looked into it. And after that, I've been asking a lot of people that are busy with making skills maps or skills profiles or skills assessments or future skills or soul or ist situations. And very little people even know that this is available and it exists, and you can, well, simply download it. Doesn't mean that I'm not the ambassador of this solution, and I also see that there are drawbacks, but I think that is really valuable to know that it's there. And even if you just use it as a starting point to make sure that you don't forget about anything, and possibly then it can be a very healthy experience to collectively in your organization assess those skills profiles and say, hey, these skills are not relevant for us, so we wipe them out. That's fine.
But interesting for their bosses. But this is the minimum requirement. So you don't have to expect this and this and this. But maybe this is where we start, and if we are good at this,
Yeah.
then we are doing a good job. And if we add on this and this and this, then we're like, yeah, very good. So maybe it's a good argument for the next meeting with executives or whoever, because they mostly respect whatever competencies are out there and want everyone to be on the top level, but maybe
that's one part. Or for instance, if you look at the whole like future skills discussion, it's very often hijacked by McKinsey and similar consultancies. So it can also give you like if you look at the McKinsey 21st century skills, I think I looked at them like not so long ago. They're basically all the same skills that are here in your transversal skill competence part. So if you look at, let's say, application of knowledge, digital competencies, this is all your digital literacy and digital skills. If you look at the McKinsey 21st century skills, it's basically this outline. And well, it's just here for free. It's already, everyone already knows this. We're finalizing. Did you have one more question? Then
No, I have an idea in terms of wenn uns Fachkräfte fehlen, wir horizontären Move
ja.
wollen in dann müssen wir sagen, was kann man lernen? Nach dem Motto, was sind Abilities, die nach dem Motto, was ist mein T-Shape?
Ja. So.
Das kann ich lernen hier, aber das brauche ich. Und das ist in der anderen Organisation genauso notwendig, um eben diese Verschiebung.
Reskilling, der nächste Job, den möglich ist. Das ist da.
Um die Leute auch im Unternehmen zu haben. Wenn du gerade sagst, die Automotives, die ihren Verbrennermotor kennen, aber wir brauchen auch, wie können wir sie umlernen, damit sie in einem anderen Bereich eben auch ihre Fähigkeiten haben.
Genau. So in the Netherlands and probably elsewhere too, a lot of like mid-level administrative jobs have been thrown out of companies like insurance companies, banks, local governments, because all these systems have been automated. Now, in the whole AI, a lot of organizations are actually looking for people with those skills because they need to get their data in order before they can do anything with AI. So now everyone's looking for mid-level administrative skills, people that are very precise and can just go through data sets and clean and work them up. But we fired all those people 5 or 10 years ago because we didn't need them anymore. And same thing goes for technical skills, like one place they're not needed anymore, but we need them to facilitate the energy transition. And of course, it's not the same, but it's very close. So we could reskill those people to fill that gap perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining this spontaneous session.